may seek to separate them, action and consequence will invariably have their dreadful reunion.
And welcome back to more Darkest Dungeon. This is episode 4, week 3 getting underway, and we have a rather disturbing town event, Debatron, a maddening whine. Intolerable clouds of mosquitoes and other less identifiable pests continue to descend upon the hamlet with maddening persistence. Illness and irritation abound. New courtyard quest available. Okay, so this is letting us know that the Crimson Court DLC is now unlocked and available, and it will have an impact on pretty much the remainder of the playthrough, and how that plays out will be seen as we carry on throughout the weeks. More immediately, however, we have unlocked the Guild and the Blacksmith, so let's go ahead and have a look at them.
Make no mistake, we will face ever greater threats. Our soldiers must be ready.
Alright, so the Guild is where you unlock new skills for your heroes, as well as upgrade existing skills. It's a very important facility. And like all buildings, the Guild can be upgraded, and you need to increase instructor mastery in order to unlock and learn the higher ranks of each hero's skills. And as you can see here, by slotting a hero into the box, it shows you which skills the hero has unlocked, how much it costs to unlock the others, and eventually, once the hero is high enough level and you've increased instructor mastery enough, they can purchase upgrades to those skills, causing them to be more and more powerful, more accurate, do more damage, stun for longer time, etc., etc. So I'm going to go ahead and convert some heirlooms so we can purchase Training Regimen, which reduces the cost of skills.
Every creature has a weakness. The wise hero trains for what he will face.
And now you can see a new skill only costs 900 gold instead of 1,000.
The bellows blast once again. The forge stands ready to make weapons of war.
And on to the Blacksmith. This is pretty straightforward. This is where you upgrade your weapons and armor. And similarly to the Guild, you have to upgrade the Blacksmith itself in order to unlock the higher ranks of weapon upgrades and armor upgrades for each hero. And here you see the interface operates pretty much the same. You click on a hero to slot them into the box. It shows you which level of weapon and armor they have, and if it's available, how much it would cost to upgrade them. Okay, and on to the Stagecoach. Let's have a look at our fresh recruits. This was a pretty good roll. Getting a second Jester in week 3 is just awesome. And guess what? This one comes with Inspiring Tune, which is the desperately needed stress heal ability. So I couldn't be more happy about this. His quirks aren't that great, but we'll live with it.
He will be laughing still at the end.
Alright, and up next we have not one but 2 antiquarians to choose from. Not that I'm going to take both of them. We only need one for the roster, but it's just really, really lucky to be able to choose an antiquarian in week 3. And the reason being, they can dramatically increase your gold income. And in this early part of the game, when gold is at such a premium, it's very lucky to have them show up. Now, as for these particular 2 antiquarians we have to choose from, neither are all that good. They both need work on their skills, their camping skills. Neither of them have very impressive quirks. Ultimately, I go with Mucident just because the other one has a kind of hard name to pronounce, Dubose, but it's like, that's not an E on the end, it's a C, like Dubashk. I don't know how to say that, but more seriously, her negative quirks were worse than Mucident's, and that was pretty much really it. That's why I chose her.
She searches where others will not go, and sees what others will not see.
And I know I mentioned this in the intro, but his remark about the antiquarian class is hands down like the most hilarious description of a hero ever. It makes me laugh every time.
The raw strength of youth may be spent, but his eyes hold the secrets of 100 campaigns.
All right, and on to the man-at-arms there. His particular role wasn't all that great, but we need a man-at-arms similar to the Leper and the Hellion. I don't use them a whole lot, but I need one in the roster, so might as well take him because he's there. As for the rest, I don't need a second Leper, and I kind of compare the one we got with this one. They both have Hot to Trot. The new one has less negative quirks, which is appealing, but our old one here, Mules, is already level 1, and he has thick-blooded bonus to blight resistance. So ultimately, I don't take the new Leper, and we just go with this for now. All right, and a quick stop at the Nomad Wagon. Nothing that great here. The survival guide is actually decent because it gives a bonus to scouting, which is really important. I mean, if I had the money, I'd probably buy that, but not for 2/3 of our gold. All right, and on to the embark screen. Several things to point out. As we noticed last time, there is a farmstead quest available, and again, we're not going to do that. And then up here, like we were told at the beginning of the episode, the courtyard is now available. There's a short quest there, and we're not going to do the courtyard for now, but just pointing out that it's available. And then also notice that the Weald is available. There's a short quest there. So a lot going on in addition to the ruins, which we're, getting quite familiar with at this point. Okay, another thing to notice about the ruins is it looks like there's an XP bar beneath the word ruins, which is kind of half filled with red. And then notice to the right of the word ruins, there's a little skull icon with the number 1. And contrast this with the Weald, which just got unlocked, right? So it has an empty bar, and next to the word Weald, it says 0. This is telling you what level the dungeon is, and also giving you kind of a visual cue as to how far along you are to unlocking the next level for that dungeon, and ultimately unlocking the next boss for that dungeon. And this makes sense, right? Because so far we've done 2 short quests in the ruins, so it should have some progress showing, whereas the other venues we haven't done any quests in, and accordingly they're still sitting there at level 0. Okay, as for the ruins quests available, there are 2 mediums and 1 short. And right here I'm comparing what the rewards are, thinking about who I want to take and level up. I'm considering doing a medium quest, but here I'm checking, do I have anybody in my roster that actually has a camping skill that will prevent the nighttime ambush? Because remember, the survivalist isn't available yet, so I can't just build the party like I want and then pop over to the survivalist and purchase whatever camping skill I want, for example, one that prevents a nighttime ambush. So I have to work with what I have if I want to do a medium at this point. And as it turns out, only Dismas in our current roster has a camping skill that prevents nighttime ambush, And I don't really want to take him on a quest and get him experience right now, especially not the increased experience that a medium quest would yield. And furthermore, just like last week, I'm not 100% convinced that I could build a party from this roster that would actually make it through a medium quest. And then perhaps more important, there is this intricately wound, very unforgiving kind of master plan that I'm paying attention to, which involves me unlocking the boss in each of these venues, but not doing it with certain heroes that need to actually go and kill the boss, because if they do all the quests to unlock the boss, then they're going to end up with too much experience and be too high a level to enter the dungeon once the boss is unlocked, you see. So that's part of the very tricky planning and paying attention to how much experience each hero has, who you ultimately want to use for the boss fights, making sure those heroes don't get too much experience. And remember, medium quests reward more experience than shorts, as do longs and boss dungeons, etc., etc. So it's all very intricate, and I'm, cross-referencing my spreadsheets and master plans, etc. And this is why ultimately we go with this group doing the short mission in the ruins. Okay, so now that we have our party formed and we know what we're going to be doing, let's go ahead and stop by our newly accessible guild house and unlock all the skills on these heroes that we want to have for the quest. And first up, we have Croc the Hellion, going to unlock Iron Swan and If It Bleeds, and then go ahead and equip those. This is pretty much the default setup that I use for a Hellion whenever I take one. This particular setup enables her to hit any of the enemy ranks as long as she's in rank 1, as well as use her double stun on the first 2 enemy ranks. And then Macy the Man-at-Arms, we're going to buy Bolster and Defender. And then once again, you have to remember to equip those. This is pretty much my default setup for Man-at-Arms. And then on to our newly acquired Jester, Gornai. He's nearly perfect, and I'd like to get Slice Off instead of Dirk Stab, but it's fine for now, so I just saved the money. And last, Valance, our Vestal, just needed to pick up Dazzling Light, which is a very good, very important stun ability. And on to trinkets. Again, we don't have that many. I go ahead and sell off that Sickening Satchel. That's a Grave Robber trinket, not that good, just to make a little extra money. And then I go ahead and use the other 2 trinkets we have, just like we did last time for the Jester. Now here I consider some stress reduction, especially considering Mulace got hit really hard. Ultimately, I choose to just save the money. Nobody's that bad, and I feel like at this point I could just take Mulace into a dungeon with me and heal his stress with a Jester now that we have Inspiring Tune.
The fiends must be driven back. And what better place to begin than the seat of our noble line?
Okay, off we go. This type of quest is called a skirmish. All you have to do is complete 100% of room battles. So you basically just go to all the rooms where there are fights, do them all, and you're good to go.
Begone, fiend! formation is broken. Maintain the offensive. Soothed. Sedated. Confidence surges as the enemy crumbles. Another abomination, cleansed from our lands. These nightmarish creatures can be felled. They can be beaten.
Okay, nice fight there, and a good use of the Man-at-Arms bolster, which gives plus 10 dodge to the entire party. And you notice that we got a lot of dodges in there, even our Vestal dodged once, so that was very lucky. And a nice lucky roll there on the stack of books. It's not guaranteed that you'll get a positive quark. You could get a negative one, you could take stress damage, etc. But we were able to get a positive quark and a good one. Early risers plus 2 speed as long as the torch is above 75 light level. And then we followed that up with some holy water on the confession booth, which allowed our jester to heal off all his stress damage. And then here we got a nice scouting roll.
A handsome reward for a task well performed. Packs laden with loot are often low on supplies.
And there, the use of medicinal herbs on an Iron Maiden to get treasure. Not the most intuitive interaction, but again, I already have all of these listed out on a spreadsheet, and I know which supply items to use on which curios.
Wealth beyond measure, awarded to the brave and the foolhardy alike. A time to perform beyond one's limits. Press this advantage. Give them no quarter. As the fiend falls, a faint hope blossoms. Compassion is a rarity in the fevered pitch of battle. Continue the onslaught. Destroy them all. Back to the pit. A momentary abatement. This expedition at least promises success. Glittering gold, trinkets and baubles, paid for in blood.
All right, and just like that, this quest is done. There only ended up being 2 room battles, and again, that's randomly generated when you first entered the dungeon. It could be 2 room battles, it could be 5, you don't know, but that's all it ended up being for this one. We stuck around to loot the locked sarcophagus. We got a scouting check, so we were able to disarm that trap for stress reduction and then see what this curio was all about. But yeah, that'll do it for this one.
More bones returned to rest. Devils remanded to their abyss.
And not the biggest haul, but a decent one. Let's see what kind of quirks we get. Everybody gets 2 XP. Looks like Gornai gets Wheeled Explorer and Stress Eater. Neither of those are that impactful. And then Warren's Explorer for Valance, so no big deal there. At any rate, another dungeon down. Week 3 successful. Darkest Dungeon, Devatron. We'll see you next episode for Week 4 and what might be our first boss.